ukuleles. Now it just so happens I've got 4 of them in the house at the minute for various reasons, so I thought I'd do a quick video and compare them for you. We've got a Kala, a Laka, a Gear for Music and a J and D. We've got fretted and fretless. I will play them all so you can hear them. Let's take a little look. Okay, just before we start, a little bit of technical information. I'm going to play these basses through a Warwick CCL bass amp. It's a 15-inch speaker. There you are, there's a picture just up there. And I try not to mess around with settings, so I'm going to set all the basses to just under max on the volume, and I'll set all the tones flat, so that if you do hear any differences, it'll be the bass, not any of the settings. Right, so the first bass ukulele we're going to take a little look at today is the J and D. The model number is the UKBMIR FL, and the FL is for fretless, and if I just pull it in there, you can see it's a nice flat fingerboard. You've still got the markings, make it a little bit easier to play, and you find those on all the U basses, the fretless ones anyway. This instrument actually belongs to a student. I brought it home so I could fit some strap buttons for him. This really is my first impression of it. I don't know the instrument. I think it's the cheaper end of the market. I think they're selling for about £130. It seems to be a nice looking ukulele. It's nice and tidy inside. It's a sapele laminated top, sapele sides and back. It's got the compartment in the back for changing the strings. It is screwed on. The tuners are unbranded, although they worked absolutely fine. It's quite a nice looking ukulele. It's got quite a nice black binding around the edge. I like that. It has actually got an unbranded equalizer and pickup set as well, although all works fine, as does the tuner. My general first impressions of this, it's a nice looking ukulele. It feels a little bit clunky around the neck, but it's got quite sharp edges to the fingerboard, which is odd because it's fretless. So maybe a little bit of light sanding down there would make it feel better. So there we go, that's the J and D bass ukulele. Let's see how it sounds. Let's have a little listen to the J and D. As I say, I don't know this bass yet, so I'll just turn my amp on. Right. Get it to sit right. Here we go. So first thing that strikes me is that the E string is noticeably quieter than the other 3 strings. I'm trying to pluck them the same sort of weight, and there does seem to be a nasty buzz or a nasty rattle coming from somewhere on the A string. I'm not hearing it with the G or the D. Hang on. Right, yeah, you can hear it better when I've turned the amp off. And it seems to disappear when I press the string down. Ah, right, okay. If I press down on the nut itself, the buzzing stops. So maybe that's something we can actually look at by doing a little bit of an adjustment right on the nut. We can get rid of that buzz. So first impressions, It plays okay, and the top 3 strings are definitely louder in volume than the E string, and there does seem to be a little bit of a buzz, but we found where it is. Hopefully we can solve it. So there we go, the J and D. Next ukulele we're going to take a little look at is the Gear for Music bass ukulele, and the model number is the UK 400NTE, and it's a fretted model this time. I bought this for school almost 2 years ago. It cost about £150. I wanted a fretted. We already had a fretless bass uke, so I thought it'd be nice to be able to give the option. So far we haven't had any issues with it. It's stood the test of time quite well, I think. It's a laminated mahogany front, sides and back. Again, it's got the compartment for being able to change your strings. That's screwed on. They are unbranded tuners, but I've had no issues with those. It does have, as it's fretted, I should point out it does have the side markers as well, which is quite useful. This one has actually got a branded preamp and pickup. It's a Bellcat. Okay, let's hear the Gear for Music bass uke. Right, now I do know this bass a little bit better, and something I noticed on it quite a while ago was that the G string is noticeably quieter than the D, and the lower you get, the louder it gets. Now I am plucking those the same sort of weight, so it's actually got the opposite issue that the J and D had. Higher it is, quieter it is. And this one does have a little bit of a fret buzz going on. Okay, problem with frets, that's why I prefer fretless. Alright, so there we go, that's the Gear for Music bass ukulele. So this time the Laka bass ukulele. The model is the VUB60EA. It's another fretless bass, you know, if you can see, nice and flat. Still got the lines. I bought this for school over 2 years ago. I particularly wanted a fretless one for school. I can remember the shop saying, "Are you sure?" It's a nice looking ukulele. It cost about £220 at the time. It's a laminate, quite a light mahogany colour. Laminate front, side and back. It's got the compartment to be able to change the strings. They are unbranded, the tuners, but they work perfectly well. It's got quite a nice edging on this one, the binding, a nice black. So it's a nice looking ukulele. It's also got quite a nice, if I get that at the light, nice rosette with it as well. Now then, this has got a Fishman pickup and preamp system on it. So it's a really well-known, good brand on there. It's quite a light ukulele. It feels nice to play. Let's take a little listen. Here's the Laka. So, again, I do know this bass quite well. I always find this one to be slightly quieter than some of the other basses, and certainly the two I've just played now. However, that can always be solved by turning the amp up. I can't turn this one up too much, it'll distort. But the actual volume is even across the strings. particularly louder as you go up or down. So as I said, even though it's quieter generally, you can turn up the amp, and I am keeping all of these settings the same on the basses, but it doesn't matter how hard I pluck these strings. Alright, there's no real buzzes or rattles from this bass. So there we go, the Laka bass uke. So our last bass ukulele, it's a Kala, and it's the SMHG model. It's fretless. I've had this bass probably about 3 years. When I first started playing ukulele, I really wasn't interested in bass uke. I thought, I'm not starting another instrument. Then discovered that in fact it's exactly the same as a double bass and bass guitar. Phoned our local music shop, he's a bass player. Yeah, I've got some in stock. 12 hours later, I own this little beauty. It was actually second hand, so I had a great deal in it. I think they were retailing at about £550. It's a solid mahogany top, solid mahogany sides, and solid mahogany back. It's got the compartment for changing strings. This one's actually magnetic, so you can just flick it off and change them really easily. It's got hip shot tuners on it. It's a nice looking bass uke. You know, if I show you, it's got a really nice red binding on it. The electronics, it's a shadow setup there. And something I quite like about this particular bass is the equalizer is on the lower bow. Now as a bass player, I quite like to rest my thumb, and so I find with that being down there, it doesn't get in the way at all. So let's have a listen to my Kala. So the last little demo for you, this is my Kala U bass. I do love playing this. Okay, so general impressions, it is slightly louder, definitely louder than the Laka. It's consistent with the volume, I should hope so. Generally it's a better sounding ukulele, and for the price that this is, it should be a better sounding ukulele. It's lovely to play. It's a really nice neck profile on this. I just need a solid body Kala now. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got any comments or questions, drop them below. Thanks for watching.